Good morning, my friends. It's your old pal Peace Love Music coming at you live with another Let's Go morning show, updating you on the happenings in the stacks and the broader Bitcoin ecosystem. And it's Friday morning, the 1st of November. Happy new month. October was definitely a lot of volatility up and down, but it ended the month very strong. We did briefly touch a new all-time high. It's tapered back a little bit. Just also a friendly reminder, this is a news show. We are bringing you news and information. We are not financial advisors. Always do your own research and never make your trade decisions based on my opinion about anything. I often get it wrong. Sometimes I get it right, but always do your own research and never invest money you cannot afford to lose. I am your host, Peace Love Music. We are coming at you live, brought to you by DeOrganized Media in partnership with Bitcoin Live Decentralized Broadcasting, keeping you guys up to date on what's happening in the space. And we love you guys. We love our audience. Super excited to be here. Good morning, Hero Gamer. He's one of our number one fans, always supporting and been a tremendous help in keeping this thing going and helping us grow. Thank you, Hero. Stacks price. I'm sorry, getting into the price information. Good morning, my friends. Say it back to us. We love it when you comment to us. And also, if you're watching the feed, please do share it out and get more people informed. Help us spread the news, help us spread the message, and help us get our community up to date on all the things happening in the space. Bitcoin's holding steady onto that $70,000 number. It was I think it ticked up a little bit, but when I was inputting the information was $70,039. Stacks did have a little bit of a correction back down to the Bollinger Band lows at $1.61, dropped down to the number 35 market cap on CoinMarketCap. And Fear and Greed ticked down from the high 60s down to 59. So we're back into the neutral level, which is actually kind of healthy to watch it tip up into greed, drop back down into neutral, tip up into greed. That's actually a good way to see the market trending upwards in a healthy way. And it also helps the traders out a little bit with that back and forth action if you're doing that. The top three gainers for the last 24 hours on CoinMarketCap are Caspa, Celestia, and Athena. I am not as familiar with Athena. I am a little more familiar with Caspa and T. I don't hold any Caspa. I'm told that's a bad move on my part. I'm just not quite sure how to get it. And Celestia, I do have a little bit because I do like the Cosmos ecosystem, and they're a bridge between Cosmos or their cross-chain product between Cosmos and EVM chains. Interesting stuff going on Celestia. I'd keep an eye on it if I were you. The stacks calendar for the day. We have Hong Kong FinTech Week wraps up today. If you haven't been following, check it out. Some interesting stuff going on in that space. We have the weekly SIP call, which actually I think we're branding the Stacks Improvement and Innovation Show. And Haddy and I actually be co-hosting that with Hero Gamer today. We got some special stuff we need to talk about on there, so tune in. There's actually a SIP coming. It's really an important thing to be doing. There's a short time frame. SIP 29 has been announced. It is being brought to a vote in a couple of weeks, and it's about aligning the stacks halving with the Bitcoin halving. And the reason for that, or the motivation behind it, is to the halving coming up right now is due to happen in December, and we have all these things launching, and the reason to delay that halving is to make sure that the fees are coming in enough to support the miner network and make sure that we can keep everything functioning as we're coming into Nakamoto and all the new fast blocks, the fast block features that are launching on applications. And also with the launch of SBTC, we want to make sure that we have proper miner incentivization throughout that process. And this actually doesn't really affect the emission schedule long-term to where we want to be at a certain date. So makes sense, but we're going to be talking around that with some of the big brains at Stacks today. They're going to come and chat with us at 11 a.m. So come check that out. 2 p.m. we have Good for Bitcoin, the Trust Machines show. Always great stuff coming out from Trust Machines, our big brother in the space, with all the great apps that they have coming out at us and all this cool stuff that they build for us. At 3 p.m. Eastern is Stacks Africa Friday, update and chill session with Freddie and his crew, onboarding people into the space and helping grow our community and get more people onboarded so that they can actually become participatory in our decentralized economy and start taking back some of the value and protecting some of the information people have owning your own information and retaining the value you create is what we're trying to do here for everybody, and make a more ethical and equitable economic situation for everyone to have an opportunity in. At 4 p.m. Stacks Nigeria, another great group, Sam's group, doing a lot of great stuff down there as well, helping code people through the Stacks Lab project. And they're on at 4 p.m. pushing the narrative. And then at 5 p.m. Purple Pill Friday with Dan and Brad. Super excited about what Dan's has coming up. So if I am able to, I will get into that show and chat with them today. We got some great stuff happening. That is the calendar for the day. I did touch on the SIP 29. The goal is to align Stacks reward halving cycle with the Bitcoin halving cycle. It is proposed that having the block rewards on the current timeline due in early December 2024 would be counterproductive to the launch of Nakamoto upgrade and SBTC. Voting targeted to go live with reward cycle 97 starting on the 11th of November. So just a week and a half from today. It will run through the 26th and finalized on December 7th. So we have a short time frame. This isn't a brand new concept. It actually launched last year at some point. They started talking about this, but they needed to have Nakamoto launch before they could see how that went before they introduced this to the community officially. So that's why we're on the short time frame we're on now. So tune in 11 o'clock today. Participate in the conversation. We need more community engagement. If you have any opinions about it or you have questions about it, definitely tune in and join us for that. Yesterday, Donald Trump declared that he is going to end Kamala's war on crypto and Bitcoin. I mean, if you're a fan of crypto and unless you have some other strong convictions as to choosing one or the other here, and really, let's be honest, the political establishment generally represents the corporate establishment. So you're picking one corporate establishment player over another. And the biggest differentiator between the two, in my opinion, well, there's two. One looks at things more globally, while the other looks at things more from a national perspective, which a national government should do, in my opinion. But another big differentiator here is that one of the players in this race is full support of crypto, Bitcoin. And obviously that's the space we're in. So we are, I'm a decentralization guy. I would prefer to see a broader distribution of power. I'm not saying that there's no room for a national government, but I think we need to decentralize that. And I think the pro-Bitcoin, pro-crypto administration is more geared towards that kind of development in the space. So just that's my opinion. I'm not endorsing anybody. I'm just letting you know that I might be leaning in one direction, and this is why. Binance founder CZ says a couple of guards in prison asked him which cryptocurrencies they should buy. So this is kind of like the same thing as when you hear your taxi driver talking about crypto. This is a huge development. People, conversationally, random normies are actually curious about this and asking people that they think know about it. I am actually getting now, instead of trying to proselytize and spread the message out, I am getting some people that have heard me talking about it, asking me about it, asking me how to do this, asking me how to do that. So the retail's coming, getting more broad adoption or more broad interest in the crypto space. So very cool stuff. After earlier in the week endorsing a strategic Bitcoin reserve in an appearance on CNBC yesterday, Florida's chief financial officer said, if you are not paying attention to Bitcoin, you are making a mistake. If you are not paying attention to Bitcoin, you are making a mistake. I agree with the chief financial officer of the state of Florida. Boom Wallet's launching on Monday, and I'm going to talk to them on the Purple Pill show later on to see if I can get any alpha on that leading into the launch. Super excited about that. I know Dan's been working on this project for a long time. I've been checking it out for the last few months myself. I think he's doing some really interesting stuff. It's going to change some functionality and add some tools, especially if you're a merchant or you have stuff to sell. It's going to open up some peer-to-peer transactional opportunities on chain that we don't have now. And it's really interesting. So pay attention. If you're not there yet, go to boom.money and get on the wait list and participate in the Boom Wallet launch on Monday. The ROOOOOOOONS are minting runes today on Ordinals Bot. This is a groundbreaking innovation bridging the Stacks and Ordinals communities in a new way that should provide broader interest in both platforms. Good luck to all the participants in the whitelist mint and those that are hoping there are runes left for the public mint. I'll be whitelist minting as much as I can, so I'm not sure how much is going to be left, but good luck to y'all. Oh, yes. I also just played around with it this morning. Skullcoin is actually live on mainnet for the free-to-play version, the single-player version. I processed the transaction. I downloaded my first 5. I minted my first 5 NFTs on there. So I have a slate of NFTs for the free version. You go to skullco.in, and that is now live on mainnet. Just so you know, the default fees are like 0.75 stacks, and if you go to low, it's 0.5 stacks. I customized mine to 0.001 stacks, and it processed. It might have taken like 5 minutes. I don't know. I wasn't constantly watching it. It didn't go right away, but within a few minutes, I had my NFTs and I was able to play at a 0.001 fee. So don't pay a half a stacks just to mint your free NFTs. You don't need to. I mean, do what you want, right? But tune in to live election coverage on DeOrganized. We will be broadcasting live in partnership with Bitcoin Live Decentralized Broadcasting all night Tuesday, the 5th of November. We'll be running live stream coverage of the election with guests joining us throughout the evening. Have a bunch of friends that are coming on. I know Hamish, Jack's coming on, GPSC, Haddy might be there a little bit early. Nick from Bitcoin Live will be there early. You know, the European guys, they probably won't last as long as some of us, but it's super excited to have some of our Stacks Australia folks coming on at a time that we're all going to be on at the same time. Hamish Reese said he was coming on. Anyone else that's interested in coming on, let me know. Shoot me a DM, and we'll drop the link when we're live, and you guys can come in. It's really an easy process. We're trying to test the capacity of our system during this event. So, if we can get 10, 15, 20 people all on live at the same time, we will. So feel free to join us then. Also, just want to remind everybody, we're super excited. We are officially going to be doing an on-location broadcast from the EZA building on Bitcoin event with Stacks at Harvard on Saturday, the 9th of November. Bear with us. This is the first time we're going to do an on-location thing, so logistics that we don't know might happen. But I think it's going to be really cool. We're super excited about it, and we're gonna do it. And that is the news for the day. Just want to say hi. Good morning, GPSC, my brother. Good morning, LMNO. What's up? Good morning, Slavi. How you doing, man? I saw you had a short space this morning. I didn't get a chance to follow up with you, but I'm curious as to see what it was that you're building or what you were proposing. Good morning, Haddy, my brother. Always a good morning with you, man. And so you wanna, Michael J, what's up, buddy? Reese, good morning. Good morning. Yeah, we're excited for Boom. We're excited for Roo. Let's go. Morning show. And with that, I am my good buddy, my Friday morning friend, Jackbinswitch in the house. What's up, Jack?
Good morning, everybody.
Have you
Good
slept?
Not for like 2-3 weeks, basically. Anytime you do a launch, it's inherently stressful. And Ian and I are pretty conscientious that we want our launches to go well. And so this is kind of like the most complicated launch because we're dealing with so many moving pieces outside of our own team. That's why we picked Ordinals Bot, because these guys have been doing stuff on the Bitcoin blockchain related to Ordinals and runes from day one. So, not much sleep, a lot of information, very excited. We'll be happy when we're live here, and we'll see what happens, but yeah, it's been a lot of preparation.
Yeah, man, it's what you're doing is innovation. It's completely groundbreaking. No one's ever done this before, so you're figuring out how to do it.
And that's exactly it. It's experiment. Everyone that's been with us since the beginning knows, like, we're trying to experiment to make the coolest stuff we possibly can.
Real quick before it falls off in the chat, I just want to Reese asked, the Skullcoin website is skullco.in. So it's Skullcoin, but with a dot in between the O and the I in coin. Easy peasy. And Reese also says, yo, Jack.
What's up, man? Reese is such a good spirit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we are very fortunate to have a bunch of dudes, a bunch of Chads in the space. Reese is definitely one of them. GPSC. Like, I could start naming all the guys that have said hi to us, and a bunch of the people that haven't said hi yet. But yeah, Reese is an awesome dude, man, for sure.
That's true. And it was funny what you said about the stacks fees right now. Like, if you want to pay a half a stacks, go ahead, do what you want. It reminded me of the Stacks Invaders Mint, where I was like, guys, you don't have to like pay like 10 STX for a transaction. Just the miners are fine. You don't have to look after them that hard. Just, but people are going to do what they're going to do,
Right. It's so actually, maybe you could actually share now, because I don't know. You didn't win the block with Stacks Invaders just by putting the highest fees. It wasn't always the highest fee. Was it the first transaction? How did it pick who won the block?
Dude, I'm still not 100% sure. There's a lot of randomness in there.
Yeah.
And so, Ian would probably be able to give you the best estimate on how that dynamic worked, but there's just a lot of, unknowns from the user side on how something like that gets picked. And it was fun to do it that way. And we're, for those of you who have Stacks Invaders and have been with us, we've got some more stuff coming for Stacks Invaders now that we've been waiting on Nakamoto to go live, and now we're sitting here. Nakamoto's live, and now there's going to be some adjustments made on the fly. So now we're just kind of on the Nakamoto timeline, because it looks like now when you do a SIP 10 transaction, you're up there. But like smart contract deployments, there's a little stuff there. But this is what early feels like, guys. Like, you have to understand, if Stacks just in general is a young blockchain, period. But then when you roll out something like the Nakamoto upgrade that is crazy technical, this is not like they forked code to do this. Like, they had to build all of these things, right? All of this was made for Stacks by Stacks. So now it's just a matter of ironing out the wrinkles. And that's applicable to where we're at, and you just got to give it a little bit of time. And you alluded to the election earlier. You've got crypto on the ballot, and a lot of attention in terms of the market is going to be on the election. So even the timing's good, because people are, if you look at like retail, they're not paying a ton of attention to Bitcoin still. The bankers are buying the shit out of everybody's Bitcoin. They've been doing this for a while now.
Yes.
And so this works exactly
as quietly as they can.
Right. Exactly. So this is working exactly how they want it to. And all we have to do is just pay attention, be patient. sit on your hands when appropriate, and things will run their course. But it's tempting when you know something like Nakamoto's coming to be like, oh my God, it's going to fly now. I'm going to go open leverage longs and I'm going to do this and that. I have a tweet out from several months ago, and I was like, look, when Nakamoto goes live, it's more than likely not just going to immediately moon. It's going to take a little bit of time for STX to do its thing, and I still believe that's true, and it's playing out now. There's just so many different factors. When you're in this market, the macro matters the most at all times. And there's a lot of things that influence the macro. But for right now, one of your big things is the banks want Bitcoin as cheaply as they can get it. And they are doing a smash up job of making that happen.
Yeah, right. And it's to be expected. It's to be expected. Yeah. But the people that have been here a long time aren't the ones that are selling it to the banks. Mm-hmm. It's the people that got into the frenzy, buy high, sell low, right? They got into the frenzy when it was pushing up pre-halving, and they just got exposed to it, and they didn't get maybe enough conversation, so they didn't quite understand what to expect. Right. Because I think a lot of the times when the crowd all starts championing Bitcoin, everyone's thinking the expectation is made that it's just going to be number go up. And that's never the case, by the way. We are heading into the bull run, and it's going to feel like that for the next year or so. There will be corrections, and when there's corrections, there'll be 20% corrections, and everyone's going to call that's the end, and that probably won't be the end of the first one or two corrections like that. Not financial advice, but it's very hard, so when you buy anything like this, you're either in for a long term, or you have a plan. You're going to buy it at a level and hold it until it gets to a certain level and ride out any corrections. That's the best ways to do it. Unless you're an experienced trader, it's not buy, sell, and level up that way.
And that works.
Some people can do that.
Jack works for about 5% of people.
Yeah, not even 5%, really.
It is easier to just hold. Like, if you know what you're getting, if you know what you're buying, it's easier to just hold because you recognize what time it is. And this is just, again, we say it all the time. We're just still early in the process that, if we were in the early internet days, we would still be probably using AOL. If you want to try to make an analogy there, that's really probably where we're at. You'd be getting your CDs in the mail for your free AOL.
But it's so we're getting to the point where it's AOL, but it's got they've got their chat forums, and they've got their channel actually has a bunch of stuff on it that's usable and keeping the customers there now. It's starting to become more fun and usable. That's where we are in the cycle. We're in the AOL. It's functional. The internet exists, and now we have portals for the normies that don't know how to access it without these portals. And that's where we are. That's a great analogy, actually.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. And so that's what I tell people. If you take what's happening today with runes, the first thing I'll tell everybody is, look, if you're going to buy anything, buy Bitcoin. If you're a degen, this is probably something that will interest you. If you like art, this is on chain. This is probably something that will interest you. But in terms of the best move to make, and it's not financial advice, obviously, but my opinion is Bitcoin. That's the fundamental mover here.
It's all about everything else is real for most people in the space, to be honest. Even if you're a hardcore, Solana meme coin guy, eventually you're taking those meme coins profits and putting them into Solana, and probably also then taking those Solana profits and putting them back into Bitcoin. Everyone wants to finalize in Bitcoin. They might go drop it into USDC or a dollar stable coin to potentially ride out the winter that comes. but it's all about eventually accumulating more Bitcoin. So
Right.
if you want to take the stress out and get some of your attention back to put towards other things, just buy Bitcoin, not financially.
No, and that's the whole thing. Like, so when we're talking here about, runes have been out since April, and obviously we minted the runes on the day of the halving because there's a compelling case there. If you're a degen and you like meme coins, there's a compelling case to be like, well, why wouldn't meme coins on Bitcoin do extraordinarily well? Right? That's the compelling case. So then you have to say, okay, what are the factors that make things do better than other things? And what we're looking at from our perspective here is, buying an ordinal on the Bitcoin side feels like buying an NFT on any chain, basically, right? So that tends to work. Nobody on any chain buys tokens the same way we buy NFTs. Nobody. So you're like, okay, that's one aspect that we're interested to see how that looks. Like, what does that do for runes? So then you have the transaction times. Again, unless you've been on stacks, which we know from being inundated in stacks for so long, most people don't buy meme coins that take 10-minute transactions anyway, right? So your evidence of that is Welsh at like a $30 million market cap versus girl who farts on dog on Solana sitting at like 45 billion trillion dollars, right? Like and I don't know if that's a ticker or not, but
it is now.
Probably is. So you're like, okay, so you need the better UI, you need the better UX. Okay, so what about DeFi possibilities? Well, that's the next part. So, and there's been people in the Stacks ecosystem who have been thinking along these lines. Liquidium is the second most used platform to do with ordinals or runes, right behind Magic Eden, a Stacks native team, by the way.
Liquidium is you can borrow against your ordinals, correct?
Correct.
Ordinals and NFTs.
And so they carved out their niche. If you go way back into Liquidium's day, most people don't know this. They started out with their concept was you can borrow against your NFTs on stacks. This was pre-ordinals. Okay. So you could your NFTs you could borrow against at that point were like Megapont apes, because Megapont apes have, been like a gold standard in Stacks NFT lore, and Satoshiables of all things, which the Satoshiables team originally came from Ethereum. They were the first people ever to bridge an Ethereum asset to Stacks. They built a one-way bridge. Well, it's a two-way where people could come to Stacks. So that's the Ordinals bot team, by the way. So they were first movers in Ordinals.
Okay.
Yeah. So when Ordinals became a thing, Liquidium pivoted because the Stacks NFT market was pretty dead. They pivoted to Ordinals. The first Ordinals you could borrow and trade against on Liquidium were like honey badgers. Like, again, most people don't know that. That's because honey badgers, it's OG stuff. So anyway, you've got Stacks teams like Bitflow today, and we'll be talking about this week, because this is really what makes all of this possible. Is we'll be able to bridge runes to Stacks. And this is how we can test all of these different things. So if you want to unlock runes, if you want to unlock Bitcoin, meme coin, to see what it's going to do, how good can it be, this is our chance. So when the bridge goes live, and we're going to have to line up talks with these guys that are making this bridge is like a technological marvel. And what they're doing, they're like everyone else around Nakamoto right now. Just, they were waiting for Nakamoto to go live, and now they're just doing their testing, making sure everything's secure. That's the big thing. If you're relatively new to crypto, here's the thing you need to know about crypto. your launches, your updates, your upgrades, they all have to be safe. If you're not safe, forget about it. That becomes an issue where things can become unrecoverable and
Right.
unsalvageable.
It's well, the damage you do, the damage you do by having an unsafe platform and an unsafe launch where people get hurt far outweighs the damage from having to delay to
Right.
make sure it's safe. You know, it's an easy choice unless you're
100%.
yeah. You always want to make sure that things are working functionally and properly. And I don't even think it's from all I've heard, and I'm not the technical guy. Ian was talking in the Leo Stacks DM group, which is really like the official, like that's the community chat forum, like the private chat that people need to be in. It's a great place to actually get some understanding and conversation there. But Ian was talking about it this morning, and some of the other guys, Eric and I forget who else. Rubes was in the conversation as well, and it was we were talking about, or they were talking about, just that there's just some clogging in the block size or the memory size, and the mempool's getting a little bit oversaturated, but it's actually functioning how it's supposed to, and they just got to tune the upgrade based on how it looks after it hits mainnet, which is understandable. It's understandable. Our society in general has been trained over the last couple decades to want instant gratification for everything. So it's really hard for people to be patient with things.
If you're in Stacks, you should have an advantage by this point.
Yes, if you're in Stacks and Bitcoin, we do have an advantage as far as delayed satisfaction. Which is an important it's an important skill to have. Actually, that's something we should all be teaching to our children, is the value of working towards something and being patient to get the results you're after.
Right. And because nothing that you do that's worthwhile achieving is going to come easy anyway. That is just like setting yourself a really low bar of expectations.
True.
It's much easier to open up, some porn app on your phone and do whatever you're going to do than improve yourself and attract a mate. Like, you want
it may not be quite as satisfying.
but in that process, there's all kinds of things that you have to undertake, and like being in a relationship requires a lot of self-growth and all of these different things. So everything in our life truly is a matter of working towards something. It's applicable to lifting weights. If you want to lift weights or exercise, you're not going to go to the gym and knock off 10 pounds in 1 week or add 10 pounds of muscle in 1 week. You're going to have to work at it, right? You're going to have to get better. You're going to have to challenge yourself. You're going to have to improve. And that's that way with everything. So I think that's one of the reasons why the Stacks community is so cool, is because we've really had to develop our patience as a virtue. But when we get to the bridge going live, that's going to give us a chance as an ecosystem to be first movers in runes, in the potential way that we can now unlock the potential of runes as Bitcoin meme coins and compete with Solana and so forth. This is really a first mover advantage for Stacks. I think a lot of people may not understand that. And the people who do understand it are the ones who are very excited about what we're doing with this mint and these plans to come to Stacks, because you have other teams on Bitcoin working on it, but they're not there yet.
It's a first mover advantage for Stacks, for Bitflow, for OrdinalsBot, and for the Roo Bros.
Right. So it's like, it's a big deal in that way, because now we can see what'll happen. If this will be a real meme coin trading experience. So when you bridge your runes, and there'll be a few other runes that bridge over to Stacks. There's several communities that have been interested in this from the Bitcoin side. So there'll be more than just runes there on the Stack side. We'll be the first Stacks native team with a community that does this.
Right.
But like, we'll see how it goes. And so my thesis is, if you're bullish on runes, if you really think there's something there, this is our chance to find out. And this is our chance to capture mind share from other L2s, which is important because Stacks was the only L2 game in town. And for as far as most people are concerned, obviously there was a handful of others for a while, but Stacks was the one that was the biggest. We've got a big community. But now competition's here. And there's a lot of reason to be able to outcompete. So this is our chance to capture mind share for Stacks. This is our chance to onboard people to Stacks who may not have not really been paying attention. And I saw that on an ordinal space I did this week. You know, it turned into these guys really got super excited about Stacks because it just wasn't on their radar. And I'm like, guys, like that X-Verse you use, that leather you use, that's because of Stacks. Like, there was no good way to interact with ordinals until Stacks teams started taking on that challenge and made it possible in a really quick period of time. So I think that based on that alone gives us a lot of optimism for how this will play out on the Stack side, because we'll just see it repeat itself now with runes. And but it's really important and it's really cool. And this is an exciting time to be in Stacks. And so when we go live today, we're going to go live here, in a little better than an hour with the Mint. We'll be hosting a live space, Mint space on X during this so that we can deal with any questions that come up and everything in real time. I'll be degenning, trying to secure my bag with everybody else right there at the beginning. Now, for our community, we made a decision that I think is best for our community for several reasons. For if you have like free runes coming to you because you're a ROO holder or a Stacks Invader holder, once the bridge is live, we're going to move your runes to the Stack side via the bridge and airdrop them. So it's going to save people some Bitcoin fees. And it's good because we have a lot of people in the ROO community who, like, if you're like $15-20, like even me, I'm like, man, I don't like making $15 transactions. I don't like making $20 transactions on something purely speculative. But we got some people where it's like, that's what I make in a month. So,
right. Well, and if you're going to make $100, it's a 20%
right
haircut. That's a big, it's hard to make a 20% gain with a 20% sunken cost and to play. I was gonna still do it, but
and again, yeah, like I'm someone.
There are a lot of people in our community where that amount of money is prohibitive, and I think that's a good compromise.
I know how it feels. Like once we're in the peak of DeFi summer on Ethereum, and I'm sitting there making like $400 transaction fees to just move things, like it became very cost prohibitive very quickly, unless you're just dealing with gigantic bags. So if you scale that to just anybody anywhere in the world, it's the same principle. Now, if you've got free runes coming to you, when the Mint's live today during the whitelist Mint, you can mint up to 2 times your allocation anyway. Like that's, community first. So you'll get your runes today regardless. If you want to wait for them to get to Stacks, great. That's your option. We'll airdrop them. It's like way cheaper, like infinitely cheaper.
So I don't have to go mint my claimable allocation.
No.
But I can participate in the whitelist. Are those different? Is there a different platform for that? How do I know what I'm doing differently?
Well, we're going to be going through Ordinals bot. I've got the link in the Telegram and the console right now, and I'll hit it on X when we go. So basically, everything from this point gets handled by Ordinals bot. They're the experts in terms of minting these things. So you'll be able to go there, mint if you want to. Okay, if you're whitelisted, mint. get as many as you want. But if you're getting free runes, you're going to get airdrop those. And, because that's the other thing. People would ask, is this going to be an airdrop? Well, an airdrop of runes for the ROOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOO but for most people, you're talking, potentially tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars to airdrop. Like if you see someone airdropping runes on the Bitcoin side to a lot of people, like that's a very, very highly established team that's, already done a lot, and they've got a big war chest. We're a community token. We don't have that kind of war chest. Maybe one day, but here's the cool thing. What this airdrop will look like for ROOOOOOOONS when it's all said and done. Your free allocation, you're talking about a 6-figure value for a community that has like a $2 million market cap on their token, right? So I'm really excited about that. So if you're a ROOOOOOOOON, you can mint today. Your free allocation's coming as soon as the bridge is up and running. For whitelisted communities, act as you can. Then there'll be about 12 hours, and then the public mint starts. So there's not a big time crunch. You'll have some time, hopefully to get your whitelisted allocation. And so that's basically the mechanics how it's going to go. And we'll talk everyone through it as we go live. But I'm very excited to see what BitFlow brings to market here. Very excited about this bridge. This is, again, like a highly technical, very secure bridge. Like this isn't like a trust me bro bridge. Like there's some big players that are behind this. This is going to be a massive win for Stacks. And we need to do that, because now as an ecosystem, we're going to either capture a lot of attention and a lot of mind share and a lot of market share, or we're going to get out competed by the 80 some odd competitors there are who see the opportunity for being the desired smart contract layer for Bitcoin. And that's literally where we're at today.
Yeah, man, it's great. Just so I jumped into the Telegram and grabbed the so this is the address for the whitelist mint. That starts at 10 a.m. There's going to be a space on X, so people can tune in live. If they have questions, they can come in and ask. There'll probably be stuff on the board. They can get the link there as well. They can jump into the Rule console. You can ask questions there. So there's lots of support throughout the process. There's a 12-hour time frame to get in on the whitelist mint, if it lasts that long. And runes it's a variable. You don't know. Maybe it'll mint out, maybe it won't. Like it's hard to tell. I think you gotta knowing the community and knowing how broad your guys' reach is. I'd be surprised if it might get to the public mint, but it's gonna mint out for sure.
Yeah, we had, when we launched Drew, it went just phenomenally well. Like I like to tell this story because when we were going into the mint, and this is the first thing we've launched, and I'm like, look, I'm not going to try to get my allocation yet. I'm gonna give the community a chance to get their allocation. And then as soon as we went live, everyone was like, all these transactions come in. And so I'm like, crap, let me go ahead and try to get my ROO, man. And like my transaction wouldn't go through. I got out competed with gas. Like I had to buy my ROO at like 3 cents. I didn't even get it on the public mint process. But you didn't get a ROO allocation in the original. No. Like when we launched, we had no team tokens anyway. Right. So there was nothing held on the side. And then it was just, okay, I have to get here and mint this, but I wasn't like at the computer ready. Like I'm going to be today when runes go live. I'm going to be just clicking buttons immediately.
Oh yeah, me too.
I had no expectations. So I'm like, I'll wait here a second. Then as you start seeing the transactions come in and stacks get slower and slower, and so I'm like, oh crap, let me try to get it. And I didn't win. I am fairly certain I was the last transaction that got the 30 stacks for a 10,000 ROO transaction through, because you guys were announcing that it was closed.
and I hadn't I was waiting. My transaction was pending. It was pending and pending, and they announced it was closed. And I thought I missed it. And I went and looked, and I saw my transaction went through, like right at the time that I think it was Doc was hosting, or I forget who was hosting the show for you, but whoever it was like, oh yeah, maybe it was Stu. I don't know who you had actually up there talking, but it was whoever it was announcing that it was you agreed you meant it out, and I was like, damn it, I missed, and I had it was a miracle. It was a miracle.
We had
yes,
and so like the degen is baked into the root pie, right? Like that just comes straight from our origins, and I wouldn't have it any other way, because where I come from, people have the right to transact how they want to with whom they want. And you should have the option to do what you enjoy doing, if as long as you're not hurting anyone else, So I think that I think that degenning is the most fun that I've had in crypto. It's what's kept me around. It's what inspired me to learn. And so to have a degen community and also be able to innovate is just a lot of fun. And
so degen, the degen vibe, or the degen, I don't know what to call it. The character there it's integral to decentralization. It's an independent spirit. That's the word I was looking for. The degen spirit is an independent spirit, but being independent doesn't mean being isolated.
Right.
We're all independent, but we're independent together. My independence allows me to engage with you how I want and how you want. And without anybody else dictating to us. That's the degen spirit. It's a lot of it is fuck you, I'm doing this because I can. It doesn't matter. And that's where we are in this space. That's what builds innovative things. Nobody's done this before, but whatever, I'm going to do it.
You don't need permission. Here's the beautiful thing. The best analogy I've ever come up with is that degens are like the 49ers who were prospecting for gold in the California gold rush. Like, it all started with, one guy who struck gold, and then before you know it, everyone's coming to try to make their fortune, right? And there was no guarantee of success. There were pitfalls. There were bandits. There were all these things came along at the same time. We've got our own bandits in the digital space here during our digital gold rush.
We absolutely do.
There were
guys pretending that there's somebody else coming in and dropping malicious links. So that,
and here's the thing, like that happened, and it took period over several years. And not only is it a defining part of the American spirit, but the California gold rush is essentially solely responsible for making California into the economic powerhouse that it remains to this day. Like, that was the outcome of it. So the analogy even carries over into the future when we're talking about these digital assets, these digital tokens, this Bitcoin, all of this technology. We're the 49ers. If you're a degen, you're a modern day 49er. Your tool isn't a pickaxe, it's a mouse. So that's how I feel about it. I think it's an apt analogy. And but it does drive the innovation. That's how we become the digital California in the terms of economic powerhouse, because you need the liquidity, you need the attention, you need the innovation to drive further innovation, to continue to iterate until people make the things that we need to have the decentralized economy and all of these things that we want, that we can kind of see in our mind's eye. Crypto isn't just going to change. It's not just going to change the financial aspect of life. If people have to understand that so many of the things in our mainstream culture are the result of fiat currency. So it's literally that tied in. Like, worthless fiat that becomes more worthless every day is part of the reason why now if you buy a refrigerator, it'll break in 5 years versus like you could go to your grandma's house and she's got a refrigerator. Right. Like this is all connected. The quality of your food, the quality of your health care, all of these things are connected. So building out a digital decentralized economy on hard money is going to affect things in ways that we don't even fully understand. And yes, that even includes meme coins, because they're not only an avenue for getting the liquidity onto different blockchains and fueling this innovation, even though that is an important part of the equation. Like they are a manifestation of the monetization of attention. And if you leave your house right now and you go to get a drink from the gas station, everywhere you look, there's going to be ways to try to monetize your attention. If you turn on your YouTube right now, your attention is being monetized. This is a whole new way of that. So your successful meme coin communities, the kind of opportunities that will potentially spring from that going forward, too early to say anything definitively, but I think we've reached a point where it's too big to ignore. And so, yes, monetization of attention in and of itself is a utility, period. If you dispute that, then tell me why commercial advertising exists, period. Why does commercial advertising exist if it's not an actual utility? Commercial advertising is a part of every business's budget.
Right. Well, your attention is valuable. That's why. And my attention is valuable. Everyone's attention is valuable. And it's also finite. You can't pay attention to two things at once, really. Most of us can't. I cannot. I have an innate ability to shut out everything else that's going on around me and focus on whatever the hell I want to focus on, much to my wife's chagrin. She gets so mad because I've also developed a very strong capacity to like just regurgitate the last 3 words she said. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, what did I say before that?" And then I'm like, about that.
Right. No,
that's what it is. Our attention is valuable. It's and there's competition for it. Growing competition for it,
100%.
And to your point, we have an inflationary money supply, partly so that technology is actually deflationary. Technology itself. So as we constantly are expanding our technological capacities, people become more and more productive, which is a deflationary effect on dollars because you can get more for your dollar output wise. So they have to inflate the value of the dollar in order to maintain their position of dominance and control by controlling financial systems. Because if they didn't, then you could say if as you create value and you receive money, we wouldn't need crypto. We wouldn't need cryptocurrency if they didn't manipulate our money supply the way they do. But we do.
And like you can take it a step further. Unless you come from a highly, like a wealthy background, odds are your great grandparents weren't like playing in the stock market. Right, like that wasn't a thing. They were saving their money, and they had
not after 1920. Not after 1920, they weren't.
They had their assets. They're sitting there and they hand that off. And then we live in an age where it is taken for granted that you have to take X amount of your earnings and put them in the stock market in order to be able to retire. That is, pardon my language, fucking insane when you think about it. When you think about how that has changed in such a short period of time. So the problem is self-evident. And then when you start getting into a matter of incentives, getting back to runes, these runes specifically, Stacks is going to have to compete to maintain its competitive advantage. And just like people who hold runes, when they get their runes today, when they get their airdrop, when the bridge is live, guess what? If some other L1 has or some other L2 on the L1 has a way for you to leverage your runes to greater benefit, that's going to happen. Like, people are going to do that, right? You'd have to have that competitiveness, and you
I
can't
love
have
stacks.
that with
I love
Monopoly.
stacks, and I love stacks, and I think stacks is going to be a winner. There will be many winners in this place, and I do hold some runes. I didn't ape into a ton of runes, but much like ordinals early, I was early to runes because I was in the ordinal space when runes launched, and so I was connected. So I have more runes than I did early ordinals, but I don't have a ton because I don't understand, or at least when it first came out, I didn't understand it at all. I couldn't understand anything about it. I didn't understand runes is actually a kind of digital matter theory evolution too. Like, all these meta protocols are different aspects of DMT to some degree, but and someone might correct me on that, but my understanding is that even ordinals is part of digital matter theory. But I wasn't participatory in runes as much as maybe I would be a year from now, because I understand it better. I was not in ordinals when they first launched, and I missed out on that because they became much more valuable, much more popular a year later, as people began to understand how to use it and innovate it, and it became more functional and more adopted. Runes are going to have there's going to be people that are going to figure out how to do things on runes or with runes, like you are. There's things that you're doing now that wasn't actually part of the design of runes, besides it just being a tool for people to innovate on as well. So as people innovate on runes, there will be more use cases that might not all happen on stacks. And I love stacks. I am loyal to the people in stacks, and I think the blockchain's great. But I'm not gonna hurt myself by keeping my runes on stacks if there's a better development there. So stacks has to be innovative as well, which I actually think that they are, in a first mover position.
100%.
So they don't,
it's evidence of it. Like, this is going to be the first big test, and I think we're going to do very well with it. And so with runes and Kangaroo, the jumping coin, what people will be able to do is go from runes to Roo. They'll be able to go from, and then you forget about SBTC that's coming. That's going to open up all kind of other different avenues. But people will be able to now. What's your frustration with a meme coin as a degen, or any token as a degen? Really, is you're in something and something else is pumping, and now you're like, crap. What do I do? Do I sell my bag and then go chase this pump, or what have you? That's especially for newbies. That's going to happen all the time. At least now you'll have avenues. And Stacks is really good about this right now anyway, through Xverse and Velar and so forth, and Bitflow, where you can do multi-hops, where you can go even meme to meme. You'll be able to go from meme to runes to L1 to whatever else, so it opens up all this flexibility for the people.
Right. So plus with the AI bots, the AI
exactly. So we're going to put a really big bow on all of this with Joey. Right. So that's when everyone's going to see something that is not just great for Roo, but it's going to be great for the entire community. And from there, the next thing that's the idea that's in its infancy is going to be wild. And so we're very excited, but having a way for the community to be able to participate in all kind of different ways while still belonging to the community and being able to capitalize on opportunities as they come along. I think that's an evolution of, just what you think of as your regular meme coin, right? So we're super pumped about it, man. But again, it's when you're a first mover like this, it's super risky. It's all experimental. Like, get your pickaxe or don't. There were plenty of people who didn't go participate in the gold rush. You don't have to be one of them.
It's true. It's true. Was it Bruce Arians, the prior coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, used to use the term "no risk it, no biscuit."
That's it.
If you want to wait for the safe play, that's fine, and you can do that. You probably make a little bit of yield and return on your play there if it's a good safe play. But if you the more risk there is, the more potential there is for rewards because you're taking the risk. It's the same thing with starting a business, and people are talking. It's the same mentality of, oh, the workers don't get to keep the value that they're creating, but they bargained for that. That's the bargain when you become an employee. You're not taking the risk of making payroll, of covering overhead, of possibly doing all of this stuff and actually losing money. You're not losing money taking a job. You're getting paid no matter what. So that's the same thing. If it's early and it's new and it's innovative, it's risky, but those are the opportunities to make more rewards as well. So
100%. I saw something tragic yesterday. There's a X account called like Crypto Confessions or something along those lines. And
I'm mildly familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. So like this guy said, in 2018, I had $60,000 worth of Bitcoin. Ooh. And I put it all in XRP.
Oh no.
He said I've made 4% since then. And my $60,000 bag of Bitcoin would be worth like 1.6 million right now.
Oh man.
Right. Yeah. So like in crypto world, if you were just like asked anybody relatively familiar with it, say, okay, all the altcoins, let's put them in this basket. Let's put Bitcoin in this basket, which seems like a pretty stable, good play in terms of altcoins. Well, XRP, that's a huge company that for like 3 days in 2017, they were the biggest company in the world. Like, okay, so XRP has been a terrible play for people since its first and only real pump. At the time, people didn't realize that Ripple was going to spend the next 8-9 years just steadily dumping on people every month. So, but like the point is, the safe play will get you so far. The smart play is always the play to make, but the risky play, high risk, high reward. What are you gonna? How do you want to play it?
And always do your own research and never invest money you can't. That is definitely those risky ones. That's money that you're ready to lose.
Right.
It's almost like a lottery ticket, maybe a little bit more control than a lottery, right? You can know who the team is. You can know the platform. You can know some details about it. A little different than a lottery ticket, but it is be ready to kiss that money goodbye. Those are those plays.
That's how I look at this today. Okay, so if provenance is important, you have a rune that was etched on the day of the halving. If functionality is important, you have a first mover advantage as we bring runes to stacks and being able to do things with meme coin, with this Bitcoin meme coin that other Bitcoin meme coins have not been able to do up until this point, but that other meme coins can. And then you have the aspect of a low supply. And, if you look at the total market cap of runes where they are right now, if you're going to enter the Bitcoin meme coin space, this is a good time to do it. People like to buy on green days. You buy on red days. That's how you avoid, like if you wanted to ask me why I don't sit here and sweat price fluctuations on stacks, it's because I didn't buy stacks at $3.40. I bought stacks when it was 22 cents. Now, could a lot of stuff have gone wrong during that time period? Oh, yeah. 100%.
Oh, it was right. When it was down that low.
Right.
The reason it was down that low, people were scared. Right. There was stuff going on. It was it was less sure. It was more risky.
Right. So my position as a DGen is I'm looking at all these different things: supply, where we are in the cycle, where runes are as a meme coin on Bitcoin, asset class, if you want to call it that. Where we and factor all of those things and say, okay, is this a bet I want to make? And for me, it's a bet I want to make, and it's a bet I want to make on behalf of the ROOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOO It's a forward thinking play. I don't believe in looking at the past to expect exactly what to do with the future. Even you're starting to see that now, by the way. You're starting to see, like, because venture capitalists have to play it very safe, right? Because they're this is its own business model. And now they're like, wait, if we get some regulatory clarity with crypto, there's some stuff we can look back on that was tried before and see if that works now, right? Or some ideas from the past. And there is some wisdom in that. But the most wisdom is the people who've already iterated on those ideas and are ready to go to market with improved versions of them. And so this is where I like where we're at is in ROOOOOOOOONS. I like to be able to give people the opportunity to be at the cutting edge of everything going on in Bitcoin. And so it's a bet that I'm going to make personally. And I'm super excited about it, man. I'm ready to go.
I'm super excited too, man. I am ready to go. And with that, we're pushing up on 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. So only 32 minutes to go before the mint. Actually, let me throw up that address again. Yeah, man, I think we should wrap so I can finish my coffee and be ready to go for 10 a.m. And also, I just want to remind everybody. So you guys are mint starts at 10 a.m. You guys are gonna have an X space going on the ROOOOOOOON. Is it ROOOOOOOOON Stacks? It's the ROOOOOOOOON account on X, and that's going to be going on. So if you have questions, you can jump into the console, the ROOOOOOOON console, jump into the ROOOOOOOOON community Telegram, and then or join that X space or all three. And then at 11 a.m., again, we're having a very important stacks improvement and innovation call with Hero Gamer. SIP29 is an important development. It's actually basically the long and the short of it is it's important to be able to keep the minor rewards incentive stable while we're going through Nakamoto and the SBTC upgrade. But we'll be talking more about that. I'm sure people have questions, and it's important that the community engage. Also, QR code right up here. You can actually go read the Stacks forum conversation about that proposal right now. And we'll see you guys at 11 a.m. Haddy and I will be helping co-host that event. I will definitely drop into the ROOOOOOOOON space at 10, maybe about 20 past 10 after I'm done degenning my coins, or earlier if I can't figure it out. Anything else, Jack, before we wrap it up? Always a pleasure, man. I love what you have going on. We always have great conversations, and obviously this is an important day for the ROOOOOOOOON bros in the community.
No, I'm excited, and I'll be happy when it's over because I need to stop ignoring my wife and get some sleep also. So,
so you're gonna touch some grass and other things this weekend, maybe.
Yeah, that's the plan, brother. We'll see how it works out.
Right on. That is all for us today. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, check out the SIP29. That's an important thing going on. I am PeaceLoveMusic. My good buddy Jackbinswitch here with us on DeOrganized with Bitcoin Live, decentralized broadcasting. And we will see you guys all on Monday with spaces throughout the day today. And y'all have a blessed week and get some ass this weekend.